There's a 5-alarm fire burning inside the Democrat Party right now, and it's not one crisis, it's multiple disasters happening simultaneously. Stick them to the very end of this video because we're going to see how more and more Democrat operatives are frantically hitting the panic button before the midterms. We're talking historically low poll numbers. We're talking bankruptcy for their national committee, a collapsing voter registration base, and now they're witnessing the loss of a state they've counted on for decades, without which they'll never win the presidency again. Buckle up, gang. This is going to blow you away. Hey, gang, it's me, Dr. Steve, your patron professor, enjoying yet another glorious day in the Trumpian golden age that you made possible back in November 2024. So if you want a front row seat on how you continue to change the world in ways you never even imagined, make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. Also, if you want language to explain this astonishing global shift we're seeing all over the world to your kids, to your church, your friends, that is exactly why I wrote Civcosm. Instead of jargon, I show you in plain English how faith, technology, and rising civilization states are reshaping the world after globalism. So we dig into the three big arenas of this change, how faith is returning to politics, how high tech fuses with tradition, and how the new space race is becoming a civilizational contest. Grab Civcosm at civcosm.com, then use it to give the people you love clarity and hope in a time of confusion. So I'm just going to come out and say it. The Democrat Party is imploding. They are in a literal political freefall. Forget the legacy media trying to cover it all up. The Democrat Party has been experiencing this now for months. No matter how low Trump's polls may go, no matter how low the GOP's polls may go, no matter what, the Democrats are consistently polling at levels that have simply never before been seen. And that brutal reality is coming from none other than CNN, the Democrats' most faithful, stalwart champion. Even they are being forced to admit it.
So how possible is it that part of this is just that Americans don't like Democrats in Congress much at all?
Yeah, I think this is a big part of it. The Democratic Party in the minds of the American public are weak, to quote the great Tony Blair. I mean, just look at this. Just look at these net approval ratings of Democrats in Congress. In late February, at the beginning of the war, it was minus 41 points, minus 39, minus 39. And so you're just looking at these numbers right here, and you go to yourself, no wonder what's going on at this point, that Democrats simply put cannot take the ball and run with it and actually in the polls be trusted more than run, because the Democrats in Congress simply put are not well liked. In fact, these are the three lowest on record in terms of percentage points for the approval for Democrats in Congress. So it all puts together a picture. Donald Trump and Republicans may not be liked, but Democrats in Congress are really hated.
Democrats in Congress are really hated. Straight into my veins. That, gang, keep in mind, that admission is coming from none other than CNN, not Fox, not conservative media, not this channel, CNN. And it's all based on actual polling. And here's the part that should terrify every Democrat strategist in Washington. Democrats themselves are turning on their own party. This isn't a matter of just Republicans and independents ragging on the Democrats. It's their own membership that's souring on the party. A Gallup poll found Democrats' positive views of their own party have dropped by double digits, roughly 12 points just this year alone, to now the lowest reading in that question's history dating back to 2001. Again, these are, do you see the trend? These are historic lows for a party that is in complete disarray. You need the proof? Take a look at this. If this isn't a 5-alarm fire, I don't know what is. The DNC is bankrupt. The DNC is bankrupt. They've been forced to put up their own Washington, D.C. headquarters as collateral for a $15 million loan precisely because they're out of cash. They're that broke. It's the largest off-year loan the DNC has ever taken out in its history. Or you see the historical pattern here. Again, we're looking at historic crisis after historic crisis. As of June 30th, the DNC sat with $18.5 million in debt against just $16.3 million in cash raised on hand. Compare that to the RNC, which had $130 million in cash and zero debt. Zero. They're outraising the Democrats 7-1. And it's not just money and favorability, it's every metric. The National Republican Congressional Committee found that in the 28 most competitive House districts in the country, Democrats had a 733,000 voter registration edge back in 2020. Today, that entire edge is gone. In fact, the Republicans right now hold a small advantage, but they have obliterated that 730,000 voter registration advantage for the Democrats. Gone. And again, this is mirroring the national trends. NBC News is reporting that since the last election, over 1 million voters have left the Democrat Party and joined up with the GOP. And that, of course, is on top of the 2.5 million voter registration swing away from the Democrats towards the Republicans leading up to 2024. And with all of these polling and voter registration trends, the Democrats are now beginning to see some of their most important states that they've relied on as blue walls against the Republicans for decades, they're beginning to flip. And nothing is preparing the Democrats for what just came out. Perhaps their most important state is now officially, as of just literally hours ago, data coming in, that most important state is slipping through their fingers, and they're never going to get it back. You know, another thing that's slipping through Democrat politicians' fingers is their secret to wealth, right? Have you ever wondered how politicians like Nancy Pelosi seem to know exactly when to buy certain stocks? How politicians seem to have secret knowledge of what's going to do well in the market so they can amass hundreds of millions of dollars? Well, it's all insider trading, right? Pelosi and her cronies have been getting away with it for years. But guess what? You and I actually have access to that very same inside information. Thanks to a little SEC loophole, we can track what the big corporate CEOs are buying up in real time, and then we can just ride their coattails into financial success. But we get to do it legally and ethically. And once you learn the secret of the trade, you're in. Now, to do that, you got to join me along with my good friend and trading expert, Ross Givens, this Thursday, July 30th at 3 p.m. Eastern. Ross is the real deal. His insider tips have led to returns of over 200%, and some at nearly 1,500%. Again, you're trading like Pelosi, right? It's going to be huge, but seats are limited. Click the link below, snag one of the remaining seats. This is going to change your life, gang. You can't afford to miss it. Here's where the real bombshell drops, and it centers on the great state that used to be an ironclad blue wall pillar for the Democrats, but no longer, the Keystone State of Pennsylvania, my backyard. The latest weekly voter registration numbers out of the Keystone State are absolutely staggering. From July 20th through July 27th, the GOP posted a net gain of 9,469 registered voters, giving Republicans an overall lead of 56,000 for the week, and a cumulative gain of nearly 75,000 registered voters since this past December. It's absolutely stunning. That's a second straight week of multi-thousand voter registration gains for Republicans, clawing back a massive chunk of ground the party had lost over the prior couple of months due to Democrat primaries and their voter registration efforts, which, as it turns out, were very impressive but temporary. All 67 counties in Pennsylvania, all 67 today, are more Republican and less Democrat than they were for the November 2024 election. Every single county in the Keystone State has turned right. Every single one since November. The voter registration advantage that the Democrats had just 10 years ago, which was over 1 million, has now been reduced to just barely 50,000. According to election analyst Seth Keshel, who nailed the 2024 election, if the election were held today with this rightward shift, President Trump would likely carry Pennsylvania by over 5 points. So we basically watched Pennsylvania shift 3 points to the right since November. And what that means for 2028 is that JD would carry the state very comfortably, perhaps by as much as 6 or 7 points. And keep in mind, it doesn't stop with Pennsylvania, right? We're talking about 3 blue wall states: Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. Michigan has mirrored Pennsylvania for the past 8 decades, and it almost certainly is on the same trajectory, turning right. The problem is Michigan doesn't register voters by party, but we can estimate where Michigan is going based on where Pennsylvania is going, which does register voters by party. Where Pennsylvania goes, Michigan generally follows. So that's 2 of the 3 so-called blue wall states: Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, right? So what about Wisconsin? Again, Democrats have always relied on these 3 states to win. This is what killed Hillary in 2016, by losing all 3 states. Wisconsin doesn't register by party, but electorally it always follows Iowa. Where Iowa goes, Wisconsin historically goes. And Iowa has gone deep, deep red. Iowa Republicans currently hold more than 180,000 active voter registration advantage over Democrats. It's a double-digit percentage point gap that's among the highest this century for Iowa. Trump beat Kamala Harris by 13 points back in November in Iowa. Today, it would probably be more like 15 points. So the pattern is, as Iowa goes, Wisconsin follows. As Pennsylvania goes, Michigan follows. And Pennsylvania, which had a near million Democrat voter registration advantage back in 2016, that advantage has shriveled to just 50,000 today. It's astonishing. So we're going to have an officially red Pennsylvania. There's no stopping this. We're going to have an officially red Pennsylvania in the very, very near future. And here's why this matters more than any other data point. Many of you know, if you've been part of this channel for quite some time, and if not, make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. But you'll know voter registration is the single most accurate predictive indicator we have for turnout and outcome of elections. People don't register with one party only to turn around and vote for the other party months later. That's just not the pattern that we see, right? What we saw play out in November 2024 was this massive GOP voter registration surge, and then this massive popular vote win for Trump. And it's happening again heading into the 2026 midterms. Now, keep in mind, without Pennsylvania, Democrats would be permanently shut out of executive power for the foreseeable future. There is no viable path to 270 electoral votes for a Democrat apart from Pennsylvania. So we most certainly have a 5-alarm fire here. Whether it's the midterms or whether it's the White House, we're looking at historic voter loathing. We're looking at a bankrupt DNC. We're looking at a collapsing registration base, and now the loss of their most sacred blue wall stronghold, all happening at once. So what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section below. I want to hear what you have to say. And make sure to sign up for that free training where you can learn to trade like Pelosi and turn their corruption into your gain. Just click on that link below. Love you guys. God bless. Look, the best thing you can do right now is surround yourself with people who actually get it. Patriots who love faith, family, and freedom and are not backing down. That's exactly what the Courageous Patriot Club is. Join me Monday nights for our live Q&A and get access to content you won't find anywhere else, like my exclusive Turley Walk deep dives. Scan the QR code and come be part of it.